Hello and welcome to FBI's Broadcasting, the Bucks Debate. We've got Carol with us, who's jumped straight in and is actually a good friend. There we go. Hello, Carol. How are you doing?
I'm all right. How are you?
I'm all right. Getting there. Getting ready. Now we are using a new bit of software, which is called whatever it is, doesn't matter. But it's I am going to naff up. I'm going to admit that I am going to naff up. So everybody bear with me when I do. But like always, if you want to comment, do comment. We can see all your comments coming in to anybody else,
Are you sure?
Yeah. I dealt with the issue, obviously, last time when you were messaging the mayor, which, again, if you haven't seen that, do check us out on YouTube. There's loads of stuff on there, from playlists, from Live in the Park and all the other stuff that we do, like, I should say, Proms in the Park, Live in the Park, got Church in the Park. You've also got speeches, interviews with the mayor, with the MP, Greg Smith, and some other videos, new things that we're going to go into, creating videos. So I was down Watermead a few days ago filming. So a few people, I think, saw, well, they did see me there, because even the owner of the lake come out and had a chat with me. Really nice, Hannah. So yeah, it was really, really helpful, really nice, and a very nice area to go down to. So if you're ever in Aylesbury, wherever you are in the world, again, if you're anywhere in the world, you can come on this. Do comment. I put it on the comments. See, I can even see the comments, Carol. I can see them. Put 4 arrows to the left, and then put FBL me, and then 4 arrows to the right. And if you do that, then I can kind of see that you want to get on there. And then we'll send a little message or a link to either, I believe, if you're on Facebook, that'd be really handy, because we can just pass that along. And also on Twitter, if you message us there, we can also do that as well. So, but do comment, and then we can take that on, and we'll try and answer any questions. But I suppose we might as well start, Carol, because it's the big debate, isn't it? Or the Bucks debate more.
The Bucks debate.
The Bucks debate, yeah. So again, it's you came along, and you obviously, I say you come along, you were watching with the mayor, and we obviously we actually go back a long way, me and you, don't we, Carol? So you're one of my mum's
just a little bit.
a little bit. You used to babysit me as well. So, and you were so kind to come on, because it is a big thing to come on for the world to watch. But it's not that bad once you get involved. Believe me, I'm
just putting in that in the back of my mind at the moment. I'm just having a facial conversation with you.
See, that's the good thing for you, is that you get to just see me. Well, that's probably a bad thing in one way, but you've got things like, I see the numbers of people watching, and there's other stuff. If it ever looks like people are chatting away and I'm doing stuff, it's like I'm actually checking, the feeds and making sure people, what people are commenting and doing stuff. But there's a lot more in the background that I'm doing, and you can see like the numbers and the people and the joining, especially when the comments start coming in. It's quite a lot. But for you watching, or for you participating, you just see me, don't you? Is that it?
I can only see you, and I'm hoping people can only see you. No, or can they see me? They can see me.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm famous at long last.
Yeah. Is there going to be a 5-minute bit of fame? Yeah. Judging by how many years I've known you, and also with the wonders of our chatting ability. So, shall we begin? Are you ready?
Yes, of course we can. Let's go for this.
All right. Okay. So again, this is just fun, as in, no bad things are meant to anybody, anything or anything. It's just chatting about, a bit like if you was down the pub or down the park, social distancing, of course. So let's talk about COVID-19. We'll start the ball. We'll kick the ball off in the centre. That's where we'll start. Where we end up, we have no idea.
No idea.
If people join, then there's going to be quite bad, because there's going to be.
There'll be different things coming in.
So, obviously, you've been quite badly impacted by COVID-19, and whether you wish to share that's entirely up to you. But on the top of all things, and I thank you for sharing, what is the biggest thing for you at the moment with COVID-19?
It took my brother. My eldest brother sadly passed away from COVID-19 in April this year. So that's had a big impact, because at the moment, when you normally lose somebody, you get time to grieve and you get closure to a certain point. I'm not saying it's easy for anybody, but at the moment, it just seems unreal. I just feel that any minute now I'm going to get a phone call from the hospital to say he's coming home, because my brother had several admissions, as you know, in his lifetime recently. And I just think that phone's going to go and he's going to get dropped off by an ambulance at the moment, because that's how they're dealing with things. And he's going to come with a crash and a bang of his trolley and come through the front door. And it's just so unreal, because it's not hit me yet that that's never going to happen. And it's the waiting game. You know, they pass away on their said day, and we had to wait 5 weeks and 1 day before we could have any kind of funeral service. And it's not a normal service. Although it was a lovely service, and Tony probably, if he could have a wish on how his service went, that would have been his wish come true. But it just didn't seem right that once you walked out of the crematorium, you came home. Well, most families don't do that. You have some kind of wake, whether it's just tea and cake, whether it's a drink down the pub. You have a kind of wake that is relevant for your own personal need, but we had none of that. We've had none of that closure, and it's really, really tough. And that I should imagine, like myself, there's quite a few people out there struggling with it at the moment. But I know there's organisations out there that you can go to for bereavement, but nobody's fault of setting up a COVID-19 bereavement group.
Okay.
Because it's totally different to when, I mean, I've lost my parents, as you know, and their deaths were as traumatic because you've lost them. But we went to a proper funeral. We had a wake of how my mum and dad would have liked to wake. And you could put it to bed. You could start to try and cope with living your life without them. But at the moment, I haven't got that closure that Tony, I haven't got the reality, let's put it that way. The reality hasn't hit home that he's not going to come home again. And it's tough. It's tough. And I just don't think, because none of us expected COVID-19, it's hit us like a bolt out of the blue. And you feel suddenly you're on your own. If that's, for want of a better expression, you just feel, okay, they came in, they had the treatment that they could have up to a certain point. Unfortunately, they lost their life for it. You're the family, get on with it. You don't even get the, well, I lie. I did get the opportunity to go and say goodbye, but it was too late. And by the time I'd have got there and got all the PPE full equipment on, it wasn't just a mask, it would have been the total full PPE, which I'm led to believe takes 45 minutes to get dressed up in. My brother would have been gone.
Yeah,
but not everybody is given that, because people are led to believe you can't go and see them no matter what. So a lot of people just accept that they can't go. So you get no chance to say goodbye, really. And it's all right saying you can do a video link, but if your loved one is not conscious, it's hard. It's hard to talk to somebody that's laying there that can't hear you, can't understand you, and is struggling, basically. You know,
yeah,
it's very difficult. It's not natural, as in, if he was laying there, let's say, dying of a major traffic accident, I won't use any of the other diseases, but if he had a major traffic accident and I was told he'd got a couple of hours, maybe, then you'd have been there holding his hand, talking to him. And that is not what happens with COVID-19. So it's very difficult, very difficult.
It is one of those biggest things, I think, with the speed it's come in, and it's affected, obviously, the world. And this bit about you not being able to see, your loved one, or, it is hard. I can only imagine how hard it is for you. And, I've known your family for a very long time. And, I know how upset you are. And again, I thank you for coming on. But it's one of those things where we haven't been prepared for it, have we, really?
No. Nobody expected it. Nobody knows enough about it.
Yeah.
So it's very difficult. Very difficult.
So
very difficult.
Obviously, difficult's not even a word, is it? It's more than that.
No.
It's
it's heart-wrenching.
Yeah. It's
absolutely.
Sorry, go on.
I was going to say it's absolutely heartbreaking, and I can't imagine how hard it must be for a married couple that have been married 50 years plus. And they've never left each other's sides, and they can't be together in them last hours, couple of days maximum.
Yeah.
I just can't. Yeah, I can't comprehend that at all, because that would be. It was hard enough for me, and I saw Tony. The last time I saw Tony was just over a week when he was readmitted to hospital. And I just said goodbye to him at my front door, and that was it. That was the last time I saw him, and it's just so unreal. It just does not seem. It don't seem real. You're kind of walking in a daze, because the reality is you've got a death certificate. You've had a funeral. Of sorts, because his friends obviously couldn't come. My extended family couldn't come.
Yeah.
It was only his brothers, myself, my nephews and nieces. That's not all Tony's family. No. And that's all that could attend. And we were luckier than a lot of other people, because another friend lost their mother and mother-in-law the week before, and it was a closed ceremony. I mean, that is dreadful. It's dreadful. But what do you do?
I mean, I've been out chatting to a few undertakers and stuff, saying about our services that we do. This is before COVID actually happened. And you're having a cigarette, are you? That's okay.
Sorry. It gets me through the hard days at the moment.
Has your smoking increased due to the stress?
Sorry, has my
smoking increased due to the?
Oh, definitely. 100%.
Do you think it's increased more? Obviously, Tony's passed, so obviously I think you'd smoke more anyway, because obviously. But do you think you smoke more because you haven't been able to obviously be there in these last minutes and stuff, and that's in the back of your head, and that causes you stress or frustration and anxiety?
I'm definitely. I would 100% admit at the moment I am very stressed. I'm very anxious, almost to the point if I didn't know better and I was very reluctant, I would go to my doctors and ask to be put back on medication to help my mental health. But I'm not going to go down that road. I am very, very lucky, because even the COVID-19 situation, being locked up in your house, not being able to go out, not being able to see people you love, not even allowed to hug my brothers in grief and my nieces and my nephews. That is awful. I haven't seen my in-laws since November last year, and I am desperate to have a hug of my little niece, great nieces and nephews. Absolutely desperate, and you can't. So it does give you stress, but I am very lucky. I have in the past suffered with mental health issues, and I recognise signs, and I don't want to go back down that road. And at the moment, I can control not going down that road. But if I needed to, I know that going to my GP, I could get myself a little bit of help and just a little bit of backup.
Yeah. So, but are you saying that if you was able to see family,
I think if I could see family, oh, definitely. Family is essential at this time. Anybody that's grieving needs a backup system of friends and family.
Yeah.
I don't care who you are. If you're grieving for the loss of somebody you love, you need a network close around you that can offer you support. Even if it's just to rant at somebody, whether it's just a hug, whether it's somebody just put their arm around your shoulder and let you cry your eyes out. You need it. And I think everybody needs that.
Yeah.
And I think the only way you will cope with your mental health is allowing your emotions to come out. But I think sometimes you just need that little bit of comfort, that extra little bit. And that is, to me, that's a hug from a family member that I love, and I know they love me, because that's what family's about.
Yeah. See, I've got an issue with government on this. I mean, I missed the press conference earlier. I will catch up with that later. So don't spoil it for me. They're really good. I don't
know. I haven't heard it.
No,
I haven't heard it.
It's just a joke. It's one of those like don't spoil it. You know, it's a cliffhanger. I don't know what they've said today, but I will check up. Obviously, setting this all up is been kind of full time for me. But
so if you've been, Martin, can I ask you if you've been coming and going?
You want watching the mayor. I thought that was good, and that was off the top of the head. That wasn't planned. Yeah, definitely. Comings and goings. He did like that. I mean, if you haven't watched it, watch the interviews with the mayor. You know, I think.
Yeah.
Obviously, you watched that, so you know, it's changed your mind a bit about the mayor and its position, and.
Oh, definitely. Because I think a lot of us think that when you get a title put on you, I mean, I know beforehand he was a councillor. I knew that through my line of work. I used to work for the Housing Trust, so I knew my local councillors. Not all of them knew me because for whatever reason they didn't. They're busy people. But then to be bestowed upon you the honour of being the mayor or the mayoress, a lot of people, rightly or wrongly, think, oh, that's all pomp and ceremony. And it's not. And a lot of people think you can't get to that position unless you've got plums in your mouth. Well, it's true. You know, people think...
I'm going to make a note of that. I'm going to ask the mayor.
No, I can assure you he doesn't talk like that. But a lot of people...
I've been very impressed with how he's opened up, and he
seemed a genuine, down-to-earth guy.
He is.
Who he did. He generally seemed to me a down-to-earth, genuine guy. He obviously has a passion for the youth of Buckinghamshire.
Yeah,
and he deals with youth concern. And you can see that is a passion of his.
Yeah. And
rightly so. We've all got our own passionate charities, etc. And you can see that stands out a mile.
I'm just typing something up.
I totally have changed my opinion, because I thought, rightly or wrongly, pompous, got a position, and in my words, and my words only, stuck up person. But he's not. He's totally not like that at all. And I would recommend anybody, you go and approach him and have a chat with him. because he seems a genuine guy. He seems a guy that would listen to you, and if could do, he would help you. He would help you as as a resident of Buckinghamshire, whether you're private, whether you're a housing association, whether you're renting privately. He would generally help you, and I really felt that from him.
Yeah,
he's one of us. He's a Bucks normal person.
There we go. Somebody's absolutely normal for a change. He is. He's down to earth. I mean, you said I just put it up on the screen. Like I said, I'd do and things with this. Mm-hmm. It's one of those things that they haven't had much money because I should bring it up again so people they can see it. They haven't had much money because of COVID, so that's the impact there. COVID has had a massive impact on a lot of charities, and
yes, it has.
What the mayor does is he does a lot of these ceremonies, and obviously gets money gifted away, gifted to him for obviously these charities. But yeah, he's definitely doing a call out for people to support Youth Concern, which again, tomorrow's future, aren't they? The youth, and
well, they are our future.
Yeah,
they are our future. Bless them. And it's a shame that there are some kids in vulnerable positions out in the in the community through no fault of their own. Bless them, and they do need our support.
They do.
And even if people can't financially support them, why don't they give the mayor maybe ideas of what he could do for charity functions to raise funds for them? For example, like a quiz night or a bingo night, or I don't know, a charity ball or something like that.
They've done a charity concert, which I think was the Beatles or whatever, not the Beatles, but whoever the cover,
the something bugs.
Yeah, something like that. I think they were going to do that at St Mary's Church, and then that had to obviously be cancelled due to the virus.
Yeah,
so, and that's the thing with this virus is it's literally, it stopped loads of stuff.
It's totally turned our world upside down.
It has, and
it's taken the normal out of normality.
Big time, absolutely unbelievably. It's unbelievable how it has impacted. So here's a question: has it, or do you blame the government for allowing it in? Do you think? Oh, here we go.
I don't think. I personally, because you can't see it.
Yeah.
We're all assuming it's an airborne bug.
Yeah.
We a lot of us don't understand its construction, its cell, whether it's a cell-like bug, bacteria, virus, whatever you want to call it. We don't know what it looks like. We don't know how it's carried. So is it airborne? Is it on your clothing? Is it on your skin? Is it like stepping into a puddle and leaving a mud trail? We don't know. We're not scientists. I think I wouldn't want the PM's job for the world. I wouldn't want it at all.
I think. Do you reckon if you told them a year ago that this was going to happen, how many would have actually stepped back from the role? It's like, yeah, okay.
I think if you could have told them a year ago how bad it was going to be now, I think a lot of them would have possibly, because it's quite a big responsibility.
It is.
And I personally think we didn't know how bad it was going to be. We wasn't prepared for how bad it was going to be. Fortunately, I think we got over-prepared for, especially with the Nightingale's hospitals. I think we over-prepared.
Again,
fortunately, I haven't got an issue.
No. Okay, yeah, because to me,
I'd rather precaution is better than cure.
Exactly.
And I think it was amazing. It was amazing how quick that come together, but it does pose a question of where was all that equipment? Because to get that, all that equipment, you had the beds, and they were new beds. You had all them new ventilators, and they got that set up, if I'm right in thinking, for 4,000 patients.
That's right.
Just the one at the Excel Centre.
Yeah.
There was also a centre set up in Birmingham, one in Wales, one in Scotland way, and I think they were doing one in Ireland, weren't they?
I don't know. I think they might have been. I can't remember because obviously not much has been said about them anymore.
No, it hasn't.
The press.
They're there if we needed them.
The mainstream media have done their normal. Oh, that's not selling it anymore, so we're not going to bother talking about it. I mean, it's to me, again, glad that they're there, glad that they're still staying there, and hopefully, we
won't need them. But I personally,
sorry, go on.
I was going to say, I would like to put it forward from a personal perspective. Have we already hit our spike? Because a lot of people were ill in November, December. Their cold symptoms lingered until a lot of people, the end of January, beginning of February. I can't remember exactly when we started getting our first cases of diagnosed COVID.
I think it was March.
It was March. Well, if you take into account the incubation period,
5 to 7.
Did we have COVID in this country in November, but it spiked in March, April? Don't know.
I mean, the big thing, if it spreads that badly, that how it apparently does, we would have had this going back 3 months, back to Christmas, because it would have been a pandemic then. Unless it was a lower form of the disease.
Yeah, a milder case of it.
Yeah, and then something's
but none of us went into isolation or anything. We were just told we have viruses. Go to bed if you're that bad. Take paracetamol, not penicillin, because antibiotics don't kill a virus. Take paracetamol, keep your fluid levels up.
Yeah.
But a lot of people have forgotten there was a lot of cases as well of people with conjunctivitis.
Right.
Apparently that's one of the symptoms.
Oh, I wasn't aware of that. I know loss of taste is one, isn't it?
Conjunctivitis, red eyes, watery eyes, even as far as diarrhea. That was another one. Not a nice subject, but
no, obviously. It's a bit
but a fact.
The big the thing about this is, I know someone, and I believe they are watching, and they made a comment about your cigarette to my mobile.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry to anybody that's watching, but needs must.
It's live, and you've come on. Again, that person can always come on. They can put the little thing on and say,
yeah.
That person's got a very interesting outtake on COVID and how it, the government is making quite a palaver about, it's diarrhea, it could be this, but that could be totally something else. You're talking about, quite a lot of stuff that you can be affected by.
Yeah.
But COVID has, certain symptoms. Obviously, the cough is the big one, and the taste. They've talked about that. But by saying it's spreading, and they're saying all these ailments that you can have, it's a bit like, well, you're basically saying everything: headache, dodgy tummy, all that sort of stuff. It's like, well,
but no, because you apparently don't get the sore throat, you don't get a chesty cold, as in a mucousy cold, right, where you're coughing up muck, so you don't get that. I know everybody's unique, and this is what we've got to remember. We're all unique. We all have different ailments, but those two things my brother had when he had those roos, and he also had the bad kidneys. His kidney function packed up, so he didn't have a lot. Bless him, he didn't have a lot going for him. He was in a high risk category. Sorry, is the word I was looking for. So he was in a high risk category. But I just think that personally, rightly or wrongly, I just think that we had a mild case of it as from November. And with everybody going around living their normal lives, we spreaded it.
Yeah.
A worse version got into the country, and with the mild symptoms and the worst virus coming in, it combined, it bred like mad, and we're spreading it. And we're still spreading it by opening up and easing the lockdown.
Yeah. This is a big one for me. Family first.
Go on.
Open it up, family first. And then, sorry, my I don't know if you can hear my emails.
Yes.
I'm going to kill off my emails. Again, it's live, it's new. I'll get used to this new software. I really will. Again, anybody, if you're watching, put your comments down. Even after this is over, put your comments in and we will reply. I have a big problem. Family first, and I know they said, "Oh, we'll spread it more if we go with families." But it's like the big thing with me was when we first went into lockdown. I spoke to the mayor and said, have you closed the cemeteries? So what I was asking there is every time I pop there at the cemetery, because it's time for me to, sort out my mum's and dad's grave. And, I wanted to go in there. And every time I went there, it was closed. And I'm like, well, what's going on? So I asked that question the very next day. I mean, actually, I got the notification that night, actually, to be fair. And it said that they were closing the cemeteries. So the next interview I had was like, look, we need to grieve. We need, if you're saying that we can only have 5 people at the funeral, I think in Aylesbury, I think it's 10, isn't it? And that includes
not in all of them.
No?
It was when we were trying to decide on my brothers, we could only have 3 if we went to Aldermead and 10 if we went to Bearton. Then because we had the gap between his death and his actual funeral, they upped it to 15. On the actual day, there were 17 of us, and they didn't quibble because we didn't take the mickey. And to be honest, there was plenty of room there to social distance.
Right.
And
that's the thing.
Yeah. And it was difficult because one of my brothers didn't think he was going to be able to go because he was under total lockdown, but he was able to go in the end because it was affecting his mental health, because he had to be able to try and say goodbye to his brother. Yeah. And that right was being taken away from him, and that really, really affected him. And the doctor said, for your mental health state, you don't go into the chapel until the last minute, you wear a mask. When the service is over, you come out, you go straight home. And that's what he had to do to be able to go and say goodbye to his brother. And because of the mental health bit. Yeah. So it's affecting people in so many ways. And it's just sad that I think the lockdown's being done in the wrong ways. And again, this is only my opinion. I don't think personally, and I'm going to probably get slated for this, I don't think children should go back to school yet. They're not guinea pigs.
I agree.
To practice on.
See, here we go. This is where it's all going to get a little bit. I agree with you. I think. I said to the mayor, we have a lot of chats on FBL, on the broadcast, and obviously MP Greg Smith. And it seems to be when I say something, the government seems to do something about it. I mean, it's quite interesting. So let's see. Hopefully, our wonderful Bucks debate will hopefully get the government doing something correct in this idea. I think they're trying to do herd immunity via children. So the children go to school, They then infect their parents because that's not the age group. Okay, I'm 45 years young, and
Yeah.
45 years young, and with that, I shouldn't really. I mean, as far as I know, I've got no underlying issues. So if that's no funny remarks from you, Carol, please, or for the rest of the world who's watching, thank you. Okay, put it in the comments. Put it in the comments. That's fine. Yeah, let me have it. Come on. So yeah, we've got. So I'm 45. My daughter's 17. Son's 14. I've got no underlying issue. So if the kids go back and I get infected, I shouldn't really need hospital treatment. Even though, by the way, there is a soon-to-be cure to be released, and I've got to do a video about that, but I might explain it a little bit later.
Well, please don't discuss that now. That got on my nerves the other week. I know you're very passionate about that, Martin. We won't let that dictate an hour of our debate now, shall we?
Well, you know what? No, it should. It should, because I'll tell you why. Because this will help all frontline NHS, care workers, and key workers. If they have this,
I guess.
If they have this,
I agree.
Antibody, they're protected for 8 weeks before they need a top up. Yeah, and it's out your system. So they need to be refilled. But also, for instance, in your brother's case, you don't know, that might have saved him, because you don't know, because obviously how soon they would have released.
I know. I had a chat. A doctor from Oxford, from the research centre, did ask me if it was okay if they tried several. They wanted to try drugs that they use for things like malaria.
This is what I don't understand, Carol. Carol, I don't understand, right? This is an independent guy or independent company called Distributive Bio with this thing called Centevax. Again, I'm getting passionate again. I
know you're getting passionate. I can see it in your face.
Yeah, it's not. I know this camera's not the best. Again, I'm trying to put the camera. Yeah, but trying out this new software. But and also the light makes me look like I'm quite red, or maybe I am red because I was in the sun all today as well while I sorted out quite a lot of other things.
Your blood pressure's raised in love as well.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's got to be that in account. It's seriously got to be that. But not a penny has been given by any government to Distributive Bio. And
can I tell you why? Because why they've got shares in pharmaceutical companies.
I've said that.
No, why they've got shares and interest in pharmaceutical companies, they will never ever support the little man. But the little man may well have the answer, but they're never ever going to show the little man, give him the limelight, because they are taking the limelight off their pharmaceutical company by supporting the little man. Yeah. And it's wrong. They're not giving him the opportunity to step up and say, this is what I've got. It's been proven. Just back me. I can.
Yeah, go on.
Potentially, he could save the world.
Yeah, and I have no doubt that they will. I mean, the scientists, Sarah Ives, Joseph, and all the others who work there. I mean, they sent an email out. I've lost you. Kind of lost you. You need to
I'm here. Sorry.
Yeah. He sent an email out to key personnel, and he said, look, I need somebody to be working and helping, trying to create the Centevax or working on the solution for, COVID-19. And what that other scientist did was...
by the way, this is not lager or beer or alcohol.
It should be Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola is the real deal.
No, I can do the real test, and I can taste the difference. It's a can of soft drink. Just in case anybody thinks my mental health is that bad that I'm now turning to alcohol and cigarettes.
Yeah. Well.
Sorry, Martin, you were going on.
No. I know I was going on. I do say, but again, I think people can see that was Pepsi, by the way. and it should have been Coke. But it is a big thing for me. You know, Jacob Lamble and the team, what they're doing is amazing, and there's nothing. And I think, yeah, you're right. I would love to see all the, not just the MPs and PMs and God knows what else out there, you know, the presidents and everything, but their families as well, and their little trusts they've got set up, and to see if it is in pharmaceutical companies, because the amount of millions, if not billions, that has been distributed to all these wealthy pharmaceutical companies who now need all this money to, you know, feed the shareholders, is wrong. It, you know, and you can't say he's not well known, or sorry, you know, distributor's not well known. It was on Netflix. It's, you know, it's out there.
Mine, ask yourself a question.
Go on.
If the PM was to go to a football match,
yes,
and you were at the same,
I know where you're going.
Yeah, and you were at the same football match,
yes,
you would be potentially in the stalls. Yeah, on the open terraces.
Yes.
Where would he be?
Oh, he'd be in a nice little box with a free drink.
Exactly. Exactly, because money talks.
As always, unfortunately, it does, and that's
it does. Money talks, and we all know that all the political parties have been accused in the past of having their little funds from the big fat cats that pay for their promotional stuff when they're going out canvassing, and
campaigning.
Campaign biases. Martin, I know for a fact there's backhanders. You can't tell me any different. There's always backhanders. And a share in a pharmaceutical company is going to be worth a hell of a lot of money to one of them PMs, MPs.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Without a doubt.
Whoever comes up with the cure is going to make a fortune, because every country in the world, and that's, again, distributed by donate. Actually, let me just, I've got to bring it up on the screen, because people are watching this, and people are watching now, and they feel like really donating to a worthy cause. I mean, really worthy, help the world out. Actually, I should really bring it up on the. I'll share the screen, as they say. There we go. So here we go. Here's Centrovac, the universal vaccine. It's an antibody. It's interesting. Yeah. Sorry, I keep on clicking. I'm really bad, because this is where the software is on this screen and the web page is on this other screen to the left of me. And I'm so used to just clicking on this screen. It's like, why isn't it scrolling down? It's because I'm clicking on the wrong screen. I'm sorry, everybody. It's new software. It's new. I'm playing with something new. Right. So I think, obviously got the contact us. Where is they've got a bit on here about donating. Let's have a look. COVID-19. Don't know where their donation page has gone. They had a donation button on here before.
But at the end of the day, Martin, they shouldn't be reliant upon donations.
No,
the government.
Jacob,
the government should put the money in.
Yeah, Jacob. That's what Jacob's saying, though. He goes, I shouldn't have to ask. I shouldn't have to. Do you know what? I'm gonna copy this down. I'm gonna put it in the comments. Please, everybody, comment. We like to hear your comments, please. Put it in the comment.
Is there any questions yet?
No questions yet. I'm surprised we've had no questions. Or maybe, I'm not being funny. The start of this debate thing, and obviously about your brother, I wouldn't be surprised if a few people have a few tissues, and are probably trying to compose themselves at the moment. You know, it's because it's just
it's heartbreaking. Yeah,
it is. I mean, let's. Before we go back to your brother, actually, look, Fox News, this is them on Netflix, as it says in the bottom right-hand corner, actually. Oh, telephone caller line 1.
Yeah, it's all right. It's all right. It's my husband. I can't talk. I'm with Martin.
So what we got here is sorry, are you back, Carol? I cut you off then.
Yeah, I'm back.
I let you have
Yeah,
your
I'm back.
mic time. I muted you. So here, for instance,
I said I can't talk. I'm with Martin.
Hi, Martin. How you doing, Martin?
Yeah.
they use antibody for you know, the anti-venom project. So it's already known. This, I mean, to be honest, antibody, it is expensive to do. This is another thing. This is why they.
Martin, can you mute me again? Sorry.
Oh, I'll mute you.
Sorry.
I'll quickly just I'll go back to me. There we go. So what we got here is you can see that the venom, anti-venom, it's actually there already. They're already doing all this stuff, and they're going to push forward cancer, HIV, and loads of other things. So if you really want to donate, if you really want to make a change in this world, I can't stress enough to go to Send It Vax. It's in the comments. Click on it and go donate anything. And now we know money is tight, and as a business that doesn't make much money because of obviously what's going on, I know how tight it is. But if you can donate anything, and I mean obviously it's America, so it's like in dollars, but if $5, $10, $20, I am sure if they can get enough money, they can literally push this out a lot quicker and put the money towards the tests. So should we see if Carol's back now? Let's have a look. I think she's giving me the thumbs up. Hey, you're back. Oh,
yeah.
There you go.
I've just got to go and put the oven on, love.
You go do that while I quickly talk about this, and I'll come back.
I'm taking you with me. I'm mobile.
Oh well, look at this. I'm stuck in a chair, and I can't because I'm obviously doing this. You're just rubbing it in now.
No.
So what are you having for dinner tonight?
I've had mine.
So what are you making?
It's Martin. I'm not making nothing, love. He'll cook it when he gets in. He's a chef.
Oh yeah, good point.
Yeah, shop's closed, mate. The shop's closed. He's had his time. When you
make him dinner, does he?
Yeah.
You should have done that. You should have cooked that a little bit better, or that's perfect. Well done, excellent. What's it like being married to a chef?
What's it like being married to a chef?
Remember,
sometimes it's no. Sometimes it's very convenient.
Yes, I can imagine.
He does prefer my roast dinners at home because he says I make them better than he. But you got to remember the numbers he's used to cooking for. It's completely different to cooking a family roast dinner at home. You'll get that opportunity, Martin, soon. As soon as we can.
Yeah,
you'll get your roast chicken dinner.
You're like family, but you are family to me. You're my big sis, basically.
Yeah.
And I deserve a Sunday roast.
You do. It's been too long waiting for one.
It has.
And the children.
Yeah, whatever.
If I make cakes and like tarts, pastry, that kind of thing, I can do that better than Martin can. But then I had a bloody good teacher. It was my nan taught me how to make pastry. And I've got to admit myself, I make good pastry.
Okay.
Martin as a chef buys these.
Right.
When he's doing anything pastry based at home, he will go out and buy it. So all you got to do is roll it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's all we got to do when he buys pastries, roll it and then cut it to the size of the dish or whatever he's doing. But I make my own. I make my own pastry. Because I was taught by my nan how to do it properly.
So what's your favourite dish? Or favourite pastry or whatever?
If I was making a cake, I think it would be lemon drizzle. And I'm going to call them Granny's almond slices because I've got her recipe.
Right.
They are absolutely outstanding. You don't use ordinary flour in her mixture at all. You use semolina. So that is it. They are outstanding. I make a wicked, wicked traditional bread pudding. And if there's anybody out there listening, it's an old traditional London dish.
Oh, proper
it's what you proper Londoner boy. No, I don't claim I was made in London, born in Aylesbury.
Too much information.
But it's a pudding that it's like a pudding cake, if for want of a better expression, and you make it out of your stale bread.
So yes, anybody around the world now, seriously watching this, does that sound appealing?
We've gone from what?
I said
we've gone from COVID-19 now to bread pudding.
I know.
We've gone. We're going around.
This show can go anywhere. It literally. I love some more catchy sort of titling and everything, but why not? You know, I mean, a lot of people. I mean, the French, for instance. You know, we don't know cooking. That's what they say about the British. You know. They
need to come over and have a proper bloody dinner.
Yeah.
Not all that cock a fan stuff. Yeah, they need to have a. They need a meat and 2 veg dinner and a proper pudding. They don't need none of this fancy stuff.
Yeah, but you know,
each to their own.
Each to their own.
It's each to their own. Yeah.
I find it very intriguing that, you know, if you look at the world, how, you know, each society, so to speak, has created different things and how they come about, because of obviously that's what they had, you know, and somebody's made that, you know, obviously Europe is landlocked and everything, so things can pass across, but you know, in good old Blighty, we don't have that, you know, we are literally, I mean, obviously you've got England, Scotland, Wales, and you've got obviously across the water for Ireland, but you got to think that that's all we had. So, you know, bread pudding and all that lot.
Our mothers and our grandmothers coped.
Oh, yes.
They coped.
Here we go. Do you think, move it slightly a bit on from the bread pudding, but do you think we're coping all right as a human race with COVID?
At the moment, no.
Yeah. Okay.
No. I think our mental health rate has gone up through the roof, I would imagine. I should imagine there's an awful lot of people sat there that are suffering with mental health and either don't recognise that they are, or B, they don't know how to get help.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if the suicidal figures were going up through the roof.
Yeah. Well, it was mental health awareness, wasn't it? So.
Well, yeah, but I can't imagine for 1 minute what it would be like to either be an elderly, I know I'm getting older, Martin, no comment, but an older lady living on my own, no social media, and all I've got is a telly that is constantly repeating itself. The media are frightening and scaring you to death over the COVID-19.
What sense? What sense are they scaring you to death?
Because they are just, if you listen to BBC News in the morning and then you turn it over for Good Morning Britain, none of the MPs will go on Good Morning Britain because basically Piers just tears them apart. They got, there's conflicting stories. 1 minute they're saying one thing, 1 minute they're saying another. And I seriously do think the media are blowing a lot of this up out of proportion. They're not getting their facts right. And as much as I think Mr. Cummings done wrong for my own reasons, they did no good by hounding him with no social distancing, So they made a mockery of what we were all told.
Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
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 That was absolutely atrocious.
I couldn't believe it when I watched that, because obviously the news is all over it, and you're like, but your own people taking those photos are literally no different than if, paparazzi.
They were no less guilty than he was of the accusation that was made against him.
They were blocking him as well. They were literally blocking him from getting in. And he's going, like, can you please just move if you don't? Now, to be fair, if he did have COVID, he's got nothing to worry about, technically. I mean, we don't know if it reinfects people. We don't know that yet. But
no, we don't.
Apparently so. Anyway, we don't know. So it's a little... I mean, yeah, there's another question that needs to be answered, doesn't it? Can people be reinfected? Because obviously, if you've had it, then it's not that hard. Just grab somebody and say, look, mate, I need to borrow you for 5 minutes. Go next to that COVID person. It'll be like, I ain't going for that again, mate. But I'm sure there is people out there who weren't that affected by it, and it'd be interesting to see if they were. But so I don't know what's going on. I mean, some people say it's not even real, COVID. Now that's another can we've just opened up, and
that's another can of worms.
You've got a lot, and again, I'll give it to Greg Smith. I think he hasn't replied to some of my messages to try and get back on for the next show. But I've thrown the conspiracy theories in there, and for instance, RFID in people, because a big worry I have is with data and stuff, and with this track and trace and everything, it's a bit like, but
Big Brother's watching you.
Yeah, there is that. I mean, yeah, I understand the track and trace, but what about the people who don't have the technology?
Exactly.
Yeah, and also, I mean, they're saying if you're within, I think it's 15 minutes. If you're within the zone for 15 minutes, then you're then down for track and trace. So if I'm shopping, you see those people are always down the same blimmin' aisle, and they're annoying ones. That's usually me who's the annoying. But
are they going in the right direction or the wrong direction of the arrows? Because that's another debate.
Yeah. Man, what are all the people? Come join. We can have more. Come join. It'll be fun. I've had the chat with Greg. I've had the chat with the mayor. Yeah, and now I'm having the chat with you. I understand that some people just don't care. I understand that. But if somebody's wearing gloves and a mask, surely nudging past them is not going to be really... I mean, I could have said a few times, mate, are you some kind of freaking idiot? Because...
Right. Another thing then I'll put to you.
Go on then.
I know that COVID-19 was in my property because my brother was... I know it was here because my brother had it.
Yes.
Yeah? He dies. I get a phone call. At no time was I told by any hospital member of staff to isolate.
Right.
I just took it that because COVID-19 was in here, the best course of action was to isolate completely.
Yes.
I then spoke to a medical, I don't know what you call them. It was a consultant who was doing, because of the COVID experience, they phone you up now to go through whether you think that anything better could have been done for the person that's passed away, whether you were in agreement with all the treatment they got, etc., etc. And they explain to you what they died of, how it all happened, etc. And at that stage, I asked the question and said, should we be isolating? Oh, yes, you must do that. You won't get any signs for the first week. It's the second week you get any symptoms. If you do get symptoms, phone 111.
Right.
At no time have I been offered a test.
Right.
Because although I'm assuming now, because it'll be 8 weeks tomorrow, I'm assuming we haven't got COVID-19 because we seem okay. We've got none of the breathing difficulties, etc., etc., or any of the known symptoms. So I think we're all right, but I haven't been offered a test to see whether or not I could be potentially a carrier.
Now, I thought as soon as it's in your property, you're supposed to be giving a test to...
Well, it's not the case here, and I'm in Aylesbury.
Right. Okay. That's interesting. So could you...
Yeah.
I mean, I'd like to see the antibody test. I mean, I know they're sending it out now, which tells you whether or not you've had it. So that... I'm going to sneeze. Hang on a sec.
How are we all going to do that? How are they going to administer that?
Oh, well, I think you have to go. I think there's a couple of mobile sites. I've been seeing that coming up on Twitter and stuff. So, yeah, that's not a major one, is it? Really, if you can go along and get that. I mean, once you've had it, because then you're technically clear, aren't you? So,
allegedly,
yeah, technically, yeah.
But,
exactly.
But do we know definitely?
No, we don't. That's the. I mean, we're talking 2 months down the line, and excuse me, and we still don't know whether or not it reinfects people. So there's a place called Wuhan. I don't know if you heard of it, but apparently that's where they had the first cases. And why haven't they said? I mean, there was some incidents where they did say that people had been reinfected, but that's all gone a bit quiet.
Yeah, because wasn't that mentioned a few weeks ago, and it suddenly died a death.
Yeah, exactly. And this goes into somebody else I know who's saying, like, COVID's not real, and you're like, well, because
if it ain't COVID, what the hell is it? Well, because I'm telling you now that is what is being put on death certificates. Its cause of death is COVID-19. Let
me explain something again about Centevax. It's influenza. Influenza is their cure will actually deal with like the whole range of having another fag. Okay. You're still on the screen, girl.
Oh, can you see? I can't see you.
Can you not?
I'm blocked out now with this little diagram.
Oh, right. No, we can still see you.
Oh, I can see you now. I've gone underneath you.
All right.
I should rephrase that.
Centevax is a universal vaccine where it will deal with all of the strands of influenza. That includes SARS, Ebola, and everything like that. So, again, another reason why you should donate. I'll bring you back now. Oh, I should have waited until you've taken your puff.
That's all right.
It's interesting. Well, no, I don't know the legalities, actually, of smoking on screen. But
oh, sorry, should I have not done that?
To me, that's no different than smoking in public. And it's not like we're promoting cigarettes. Cigarettes is bad. It is horrible.
I totally agree.
Yeah. So
cigarettes. My strong.
I'm a smoker, so it's.
My strong opinion is at the moment I'm supporting the government with my taxes on cigarettes to keep PPE in the hospitals.
Yeah, okay. PPE.
Yeah. Lack of.
Well, apparently not. It's all sorted now.
Apparently no. Apparently we're all right at the moment, as long as it ain't come from Turkey.
Well, yeah. Oh God, yeah, the Turkey incident. Yeah, that come about Christmas time, I think. So.
No, Easter. You have turkey at Easter.
What do you have at Christmas?
Turkey at Christmas. You can have Easter. People either have turkey or lamb at Easter.
If turkeys could talk, and you said, "What time of year don't you like?" They would say Christmas. Hate it.
Thanksgiving.
That's in America, though, isn't it? That's seriously. That's in America.
Yeah.
Imagine that if animals could talk, that would drive me nuts. My cats would drive me mad. I know that, you know.
Oh, don't.
I mean, they do kind of chat to me because they meow and they just like. I mean, the video, the FBL 2020 video. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. It's obviously on FBL Broadcast on YouTube. Again, let us know your comments, please. The cat, you know, people ask me, did you stage that? And I'm like, no, I didn't. She literally
Stage what?
So Comfort, while I was doing all the video outtakes and trying to do all my funky stuff.
Oh, right, yes, sorry.
7-day challenge with Sean Cannell and the Think Media team. Again, I had to do that in like 48 hours, and I hit loads of issues. One of them being a load of kids getting out of a car outside, because I was going to do it in Frankie, our camper van. So I was thinking I can't do it here because someone's going on out the back. So I'll go out the front. Oh, I'll go in Frankie, and then I can do something from the camper van. I'm going to try and promote a little bit more at some point. But these people just pulled out just as I started filming, and these kids just. And I was like, really? There's no social distance. First of all, you've all got out of a car. You're obviously not family. It was like, I know you're all just yabbering away. I was like, oh, whatever. I was like, oh, just that's. In the end, I ended up filming it down here at 4 o'clock in the morning, and that's where you got Comfort when, she, you know, I come up and she kind of just looks at it like that and like, what are you doing? And then she claws my back. You see, so with clever editing. That's why if you haven't watched the FBL 2020, watch it to the end.
Watch it
to the end. Yes. And I've done a little funny outtake thing on. For the next video, which is how I won the book. Which actually, why don't I? I'm liking this new bit of making it. It makes it a bit easier to do bring it all up. But yeah, I mean, maybe let's go. Before I expand anymore, COVID-19. You see, let's go back a little bit. You said about your brother. He was released from hospital. Because he went in, what did he go in for?
He went in with bad kidney function.
Right. So he'd gone in before COVID had actually taken hold anywhere, so to speak.
Whilst he was taken in that night, I actually went in the ambulance with him.
Yeah.
The ambulance crew said they had no problem because we weren't showing signs of COVID. She said, but I don't know what reception you'll get at Stoke.
Right. Okay.
So arrived at Stoke Mandeville Hospital.
Yes.
Tony got taken through to their new assessment area.
Yes.
If you don't know Tony, well, you know Tony. Tony had a major stroke 16 years ago, and his memory is shot away. So I need to be there to answer a lot of questions for him medically, etc. So I explained to the nurse, do not do no blood pressures and an awful lot of work on his no blood pressures, no blood tests on his right arm because he had an operation to form a fistula, which is where your vein and your artery are like grafted together he was potentially going on to kidney dialysis.
Right.
So it was to aid that. And then I was frog marched through the A&E holding area where all the doctors and nurses are and patients, through all there, down the A&E corridor, outside to where the old outpatients waiting area was,
right,
where the Costa coffee shop is and the entrance. And I had to sit there and wait for the doctor to come to me. But an interesting thing happened while I was there.
Yeah.
And this is open for debate. There was a young guy, I say my age group, late 40s, early 50s. I'm not even that now. And what happened? Oh, his mother had been rushed into hospital. He was frog marched into a side ward by a doctor and said, say goodbye to your mum. She's dying of COVID-19. And he said, but that isn't my mum. And I just sat there shaking my head. He came outside to talk to me about it. And I said, that is absolutely disgraceful. He said, but what makes it worse, the doctor argued with him and said, it is your mum. And he said, no. He said, my mum's come in, she's 84, she's got dementia, and she's had 2 falls. A bit of a difference between 2 falls and COVID-19.
Yeah. Just
totally.
I mean, you don't say, look, that's your mother, and it's not.
Can you imagine?
I think I might know, mate.
Yeah. There's some about the fact that I've grown up with her for years.
Yeah.
You know, she's not changed that dramatically in the last hour.
Yeah, it is a bit.
But it's just unfortunate, one of them things. But was you going to ask me something else?
I was I'm ebbing my way to something here. Which
you were asking about Tony and going in. So he went in.
He didn't
on
have
the 20th.
In, did he?
No, not as far as. So he went in. He went in on the 25th of March.
Yeah.
He was in for just over a week.
Right.
And at this stage, he was showing symptoms.
Right.
Or from what I've been led to believe are symptoms.
Yeah.
And he was discharged on the Friday. I can't remember. Oh.
I don't know what's going on there. Where's that coming from?
Doctor, good to see you tonight. Thank you so much for being here. I saw you claim it. And I was so
is that you or me? That's me. Live. It's all live. What's going on?
Martha, thank you for having me on. Company is doing is
that's cool, isn't it? What's going on?
We've got an old-fashioned party line going on.
I think we have. Remember the old days of
the old days where if you picked up your phone, there was another conversation going on it.
Just trying to find where it is. It's Dr. Jacob Glanville. I think he's tapped into my system. I think I know where he is. Let's get rid of that one. There we go. Got it.
So Tony was discharged.
That's autoplay.
Tony was discharged on a Friday.
Yeah.
And he still wasn't well.
Okay.
I wanted him readmitted on the Saturday, and an out-of-hours doctor agreed with me. We phoned the ambulance to come and get him, and the ambulance crew deemed it not necessary to readmit him.
Right.
So all weekend, Tony was poorly. He felt absolute no life in him. He said, I feel so weak, etc., etc. On the Monday morning, he had dramatically changed. And because I knew him so well, I could see he wasn't well. And I said to him, how are you feeling? And I can't repeat the words he said because they're swear words.
Yeah.
But basically, it was, I need help. I am really feeling rough. The worst I've ever felt.
Right.
So I phoned up my GP and he was readmitted on the Monday. He got tested for the COVID on the Wednesday. Results were on the Saturday. Intensive care on the Sunday. And when I asked the doctors, would he be given a respirator, they went no, because it would only prolong the inevitable.
Right. So
they knew then that he was that bad. He was taken into intensive care because he needed immediate dialysis because his kidney function had completely packed up, and they couldn't get him to Oxford because they hadn't got the renal and COVID beds availability. But our intensive care said he's too poorly to transfer. And then, unfortunately, he passed away the very early hours of the Wednesday morning on the 15th of April. So it was quite quick.
Yeah, well, that is, isn't it?
Once you, when you know it, it's awful, Martin. It's awful. It's just such a quick, wicked disease. We're really wicked. And it's true, the pictures you see on television, and one of the best documentaries, and I know I shouldn't have probably watched it, but I did, was when Ross Kemp went to the Milton Keynes intensive care unit.
Right.
And you could, and people allowed them to film, obviously.
Yeah.
And they were struggling for their breaths, and they were only on like oxygen. Then obviously you saw the worst of cases when it was CPAP, then when it was ventilation, the ventilator. And that, I can't imagine. I can't imagine how he felt. Because I last spoke to Tony, I'm just trying to think what night. It was before he went down to intensive care. That was the Sunday. I spoke to Tony on the Saturday, I think it was, or the Friday evening. And I told him to put his mobile phone away. I said, Tony, because he kept coughing to get his breath.
Yeah.
And I went, Tony, you're struggling to talk to me properly. I said, for God's sake, put your mobile away. If you need anything, tell the nurses to phone me. I said, and I'll obviously phone them to see how you are. And that was the last conversation I ever had with him. So God knows what he was going through, how he felt, and all that, because you don't know. You don't know, and I'll never know.
Unfortunately, you won't.
No, you won't. And I know that we've got different beliefs, and that's another debate for another day. But I won't know. Under normal circumstances, I won't know. Never will know. So.
Yeah. I mean, let's go back. Let's rewind a little bit. So when did he go in?
The 25th of March.
25th of March. And when did he come back? When did he first come out? So that was about, I think it was the 6th or the 7th of April. Let's just say the 6th.
If that was the week, it was the weekend. No, it was Easter weekend. So it would have been. Do you know what? I haven't got my diary in front of me.
So he went. So you basically.
He died on the 15th
of
April.
Right.
Let me go back. I've got my kind husband has just given me my calendar.
Oh, is he there? Is he? Hi, Martin.
Hi, Martin. Hi, Martin. He said, right. So
what's for dinner?
He's having pizza. That's May. I don't want May. I want April. Sorry.
Like it's social distancing. I can't come over and get
them. You can now. You can come in my garden.
Yeah.
Right. He died on the 15th.
Is it 6 or 10?
Right. He went in. He came home Friday the 3rd of April.
Right.
He was back in hospital on Monday the 6th.
So 3 days later?
Yeah. Because he should never have come home. It was a failed discharge. And I'm prepared to say that. I am prepared to say that because that is the truth. Don't give me no bully. No, don't give me no bully. You know, BS.
So, yeah,
it was a failed discharge.
So he went in on the 25th, and then he was. Did he have all his treatment by the time he was discharged on the 3rd, or failed?
He had a failed discharge because he still had diarrhea.
Right, but they said he didn't, and you can pretty much guarantee that he did.
They wanted to discharge him on April the 1st, on a Wednesday.
Right.
And I said no. I refused his discharge because he hadn't had 48 hours clear of the diarrhea bug.
You see, what's interesting with this? So I'm just going to bring it up on screen for you to see. So in this time period was the COVID-19 hospital discharge service requirement. Okay.
Yeah.
This is, and I'll tell you how again, I nearly forgot. Easy to find. All you got to type into Google is COVID-19. I'll put it on the big screen so everybody can see it. You know, just type in that into Google, COVID-19 hospital discharge service requirement. Yeah, and it will bring you to the wonderful NHS official site, and it then lets you this document. So, which then brings you up to here, and then you've got to click. See that one? That's the letter. Oh, I always get worried in case they take it down.
Yeah.
But in here, so this is the official. This is officially released, published on the 19th of March, 2020. Now I've spoken to people who work in the NHS, and they said they didn't even know what this was, and I actually passed it on to them, saying, "Look, this is what's going on. This is what it's about." And they're like, "I've not even heard of it." So I go, "Well, whether you have or you haven't." So if I scroll down, let's have a look. You've got free up to at least 15,000 beds. So this isn't a dummy little document. This is an official government document. Look, so expected to free up at least 15,000 beds by Friday, the 27th of March, 2020. So that's kind of just, he was admitted in that sort of time frame.
Period. Yeah.
Came in, and then this finally, and I said this to MP Greg Smith, and I can bring the video up where he goes, because I'll throw the question at you in a second, where literally, he's come in, and then all of a sudden it's finally filtered through the wonderful NHS sort of protocol, and then it's like, okay, get everybody out. And this is what I showed MP Greg Smith, which is pathway 0, 50% of people, simple discharge, no input from health or social care required. Oh, drop my pen. 45% of people support, it's pathway 1, support to recover at home, able to return home with support from health and social care. So we're talking 95% of the hospital population were kicked out, literally kicked out. Whether they like it or not, off you go. And to add to that, pathway 2, 4% of people rehabilitation in a bedding setting. Yeah, so you're talking 99% of the people who were, patients in the hospital were kicked out. So they weren't just kicked out of hospital as in out the door. They were sent back to either home or even social care, which is residential homes. So I gave the question to MP Greg Smith, and I simply said, did the government do a knee-jerk reaction and cause COVID-19 to go into the social care system? So,
definitely.
So, yeah. So talking, again, no bull from me. I'm not some kind of investigative journalist who gets paid millions of pounds. I'm not an investigative journalist anyway, but I found all this. I've spent a lot of time over the COVID. Again, it's not about blaming people. It's a little bit like, just own up. Just say about it.
Yeah.
Let the people decide. Let the people, you're going to get grief from it. Now, I have phoned number 10 Downing Street, and I've tried to get through so I can ask the PM himself, or, they're a medical team, and say, just accept that. But, to you, looking at, let's bring you back on screen fully. There we go. Oh, there we go. 25th of March, they wanted him out on the 1st of April. For a fact, he was all right when he went in.
It was just his kidney function wasn't functioning properly.
So
but other than that, he had no COVID symptoms.
While he was in hospital?
No, he had none at home. He got them whilst he was in hospital.
Right. So and that for a fact, because when he came home, he was what? When
he went in,
yeah,
he had no COVID symptoms.
Yeah.
Whilst he was in, he got diarrhea, and that was explained to me. Sorry,
that's not a symptom of COVID.
It is, apparently.
Oh, okay.
That's what I've been told. I can only go on what I've been told. He was sent over to the ophthalmic unit whilst he was in to have his eye tested, and it was found that it was conjunctivitis whilst he was an inpatient. That's number 2 symptom.
Okay.
They did not do a chest x-ray on him until, let's go back, Wednesday the 8th of April. They done a chest x-ray.
8th of April, yeah?
The 8th of April, and he was tested
Right.
for the COVID.
Yeah.
On Saturday the 11th, he was diagnosed. And by Sunday the 12th, he was in intensive care.
And passed on the 15th.
And passed on the 15th. The early hours of the 15th.
So yeah, the chest x-ray on the 8th. On the Saturday was confirmed on the 11th.
Yeah.
And obviously, was there
passed away on the...
Yeah, on the 15th. Excuse me. And
yeah.
Here. So yeah, so we have. He came out on the 3rd, and he was back in on the 6th. So 3 days. There's a 5 to 7 day incubation period, isn't there, sort of thing, or 5 days before any symptoms will be shown, if not shown before them. And actually, if you think about it, I mean, he was in there for X amount of days. He must have got it when he was in there.
Oh, definitely. Most definitely.
So again, I brought this up. We're talking a couple of months ago. None of the press, no press, I've said it in any, unless it was said today. I also brought out about the. I didn't bring up about the PPE so smart, but I did bring about. They lowered COVID from, what was it? From they lowered the status of COVID. It wasn't an infectious disease or something. It was they moved it to an IPF.
So why, if it wasn't an infectious disease, why did they prepare specific wards for COVID symptomed patients?
Yeah, well, they moved it from. I hate Sid. Now I'm gonna have to look that up. Such a long time ago. I tried to forget all about it. This is what Piers is having to go at the MPs for. So this is where Panorama came about, and they said. So I've already covered this a couple of weeks before, but I didn't go into more because the information about the PPE. But the Panorama did state that with the PPE, they downclassed the virus so that the people wouldn't have to wear they wouldn't have to have the PPE that's classed for a HCID. So let me see.
But he was moved around that hospital, Martin, and the porters, bless them, were not warned that he potentially had COVID-19. So they weren't equipped with PPE equipment.
Well, that's the thing, isn't it?
That to me is a breakdown of communication between the nursing staff and the porters.
Did they have the PPE?
Yes, they did. They had it available. They had PPE, maybe not to the extent they've got it now, but they did have PPE. And if they had anybody that they were moving around the hospital for whatever reason with suspected COVID symptoms, the porters were prepared, and they were dressed up for it, for want of a better expression. But they weren't given that opportunity with Tony. They moved him they transferred him from a medical unit to a ward, and there was no PPE equipment. Sorry, I'm opening another
can.
Another drink. Yes, sorry.
It's all right. I'll let you on. Should be Coca-Cola. There we go.
No, I don't like Coca-Cola, I'm afraid. But I wasn't going to mention the name of my soft canned drink.
Comment, Coca-Cola or Pepsi. There we go.
Pepsi. Marmite. Love it or hate it.
Hate it.
Love it.
A passion.
Love it.
Ugh. No Marmite for me, thank you. Ugh. So,
and mine's not ordinary Pepsi.
Pepsi Max.
Yes. Yes, no sugar.
Just sweetness.
Oh, I don't. No, it's got nothing in it.
Has it not?
That's it?
Have a look.
Let me have a look.
Now we're opening up another debate. Sweetness.
Oh, it has got sweetness in it.
It has, because they have a load of chemicals they need to dish out to the world, and they call it sweetness.
But I can't. I am not to have sugar.
Why not?
Oh, let's get it all out there, shall we? I'm a diabetic. What else would you like to know?
Remember, it's a family show, as you say. I've got a problem with sweeteners. I think taste horrible anyway, but just it's a chemical that, you know, just go without the sugar if that's the case. You know, the sugar it's a natural product, where your sweetener's not.
Okay, whatever. But I don't like Coca-Cola. It's too caramelly.
Oh.
And the diet one is like drinking a load of bubbles. Whereas Pepsi, you have got a taste. And I could do the Pepsi challenge, and I would be 100% spot on.
Right, when we find out all this lockdown, I think we're going to have to do the Pepsi challenge, Coke challenge thing. We're going to have to
bring it on, boy. Bring it on.
Refrigerator. So it's one of those things where sweetness to me is just, you know, just one. You know, I can tolerate it. Sometimes they're really overbearing, but other times they're not. But here's another one: vaccines. Vaccines, yeah. Vaccines are the stuff they put in vaccines. Now, I know a few people who say you don't really want that stuff in your arm. I mean, the government's pushed forward from Oxford. Again, I haven't investigated it fully yet, but how much testing did they do with that vaccine? Okay,
don't know.
No, I mean,
I'm not a scientist, darling.
But distributed by Jacob Glanville, they've got a thing called a happy hamster test. This is where they inject, obviously, some with the virus and some without, and some are given the vaccine, sort of thing.
Right.
And
are they doing it on hamsters or are they doing it on rats? Because a lot of the medical testing centres around the Oxfordshire area, it's rats. It's not hamsters.
Because now I see if Jacob Glanville was on here, he could explain what the difference is. They do it on hamsters, and they check to see. Apparently, you know, the makeup's the same as ours or something, or near the line. Again, I'm no scientist. I've told a few people. I
just know for a fact the farms are rats, not hamsters.
Do you know,
and they're beagle dogs.
I'm going to put a little note down. Why?
Yeah, it's just that I've got friends that work there.
Oh, have you?
Yes.
You never told me that before.
No, because it's not something
it's secret because you just told the whole world.
Yeah, I know. I hope Canada and Australia are listening into this.
Why?
I've got family there, so.
Oh, sorry, I thought you meant as in there was some kind of repercussion for it.
No.
I'm just putting down, why do we use rats and USA use hamsters? So you know for a fact that they used hamsters then?
Yes.
Rats.
No, they use rats.
Yeah, yes.
Good Lord.
They tested it on rats for how long? I mean, Centrivax is currently being tested. It's got 4 of the 5 independent research facilities come out. Yeah, and if this stuff works, 20 minutes before you start to feel better. 3 out of the 4, well, 3 have come out saying it's highly potent at neutralizing the COVID-19 virus. The 4th one, I'm still trying to dissect the sort of thing that's been said. So I'm just going to say, I don't know, but they're still waiting for the 5th one to come in. But it's a bit like they've had 2 years. 2 years.
Who have?
Distributed Bio. They literally 2 years in front of everybody else with the universal vaccine. I mean, they did get a grant from Melinda and Bill Foundation, Gates Foundation, for their universal vaccine. So,
but how could they? Are you saying that they've created this vaccine or this anti-vax thing?
Antibody therapeutic.
Antibody. They've created this 2 years ago,
right?
Because if that is the case, how did they know about COVID before anybody else in the world?
No, they didn't. What it is that COVID or coronavirus is another strand. Yeah. So they've created antibodies which they can put in. For instance, when you have the jab, you go in and have your jab for influenza, your flu jab.
Yeah. That's
for one strain. And I think about 50 of the population it works for, and the other 50 it doesn't, who have it done, or someone like that.
It's five or six strains of different flus.
Okay, so what you've got with with Centevax is they were able to say, right, this hasn't been seen before, so we need to find out as it's part of influenza, we're going to see whether there's certain things that we've already looked into to see if we can adapt this Centevax.
Right, I'm with you.
So the way that this is what I'm saying about highly potent at neutral. Oh, don't do the hair. That means you're tired.
Yeah, but there's a message there, Martin.
Yeah, all right. Highly potent. I know. 3 minutes. So
sorry.
We've been going for an hour and 37 minutes. I said, how about another 23 minutes? So what you've got, or somebody else join in, tag team. Here we go. Let's get Martin in.
Martin's just excused himself. He's got to go and eat.
Oh, all right, lucky him.
So
but you've got this universal vaccine. Yeah, that don't just cover COVID. It'll cover SARS, Ebola, and influenza.
Right.
And still got no money. But they're still testing. They're waiting for the happy hamster test. So how have they created a vaccine that won't work, by the way? Well, it will work. It'll build up your immunity, a vaccine that Oxford have released. 8 weeks. 8 weeks before you're fully protected. Yeah.
Right.
So how has that been tested? What test has it gone through, and to the people? I mean, if you watch MP Greg Smith, see his face after when I say that. I said, it is happening in Buckinghamshire or Oxfordshire. It is in our area and we can volunteer for it. And he went, oh, and I thank the people. It's a bit like, yeah, I'm not going to get it. You know what I mean? It's interesting, but this is being pushed out there and we don't know what is actually in a vaccine. I mean, a couple of people I know who don't have vaccines done, they've actually gone in even lately and said, can you please tell me what's in this vaccine? And they're like, no idea. Right. But if you're a nurse and you're shoving that into somebody's arm, should you not know what's in it? They're like, no. There's a little leaflet, and the leaflet that they read doesn't tell them what's actually in it. So, and
but surely that should be down to the doctor that's prescribing it, because it's the doctor that prescribes it. The nurse just administers it.
But the biggest thing is there's an hoo-ha, and what we're going to get as well is if you don't have the vaccine, you disappear. So it's like if you're not on track and trace, are you telling me I can't go out, or I can't go here, or I can't go there? Because one of the things is you probably can't go to another country.
Well, I wouldn't want to go to another country at the moment.
No, but
as much as I love going abroad,
all right,
I don't think it's worth the risk to them or myself.
people, please comment on this one. Tell me what you think. Right now, I'm going to ask you: if the government turned around to you and said, "So let's just say they put roadblocks up at every county line,"
Yeah.
and you can't go any further unless you've got track and trace. What would you say?
I would stay within my own county.
Okay. Right.
I personally, because as much as I would love to go and see my friends, I've got friends in the country that I go to quite regularly.
Yeah.
And they're in a completely different county to what we're in. And there is no way at the moment I would even consider going anywhere near them, because I don't know if I'm going to take COVID to them. I don't know if they're going to give me COVID. And if I thought for 1 minute, I've got like godchildren there. There's 1, 2, 3 generations. And if I infected one of them and that spread to all of them, I'd never forgive myself. So I would use, and I'm a firm believer, we should stay in at the moment. These people going to all the beaches and that lot. If I could only give you an hour of my time to explain to you how bad it is, how it affects you when somebody's died of it, then I would, because some people think they're immune to it. Some people are just blasé about it. But if they could be forced to watch somebody die of it, or speak to somebody that's gone through that period of time, I would hope that the message might sink in a little bit. But I do think, personally, that the public have gone against the lockdown because of the Cummins saga.
Oh, back to that. Comings and goings.
Yeah, and I'm really sorry, Martin, but in a minute, my battery's going to die.
Oh, no. Right. Oh, okay.
Because it's not charging, my love, properly.
All right, my dear. Well, I thank you for joining us.
You're very welcome. You're very, very welcome.
Remember,
and we will do this again.
Definitely. Other people are invited as always. They can be.
Oh yes. Yeah, definitely.
It's your first.
If you don't want. Yeah, my second, love. I've been on IT. I've been on the BBC, love.
I swear, that's my competition.
It was many years ago, and it was for children in need.
Yes. Okay.
So, no, I did hit the local news on Central. My claim to fame, I hit the Central news when AVDC, that's the Aylesbury Vale District Council, went on strike 1 year.
Oh.
Yes, and I was on Exchange Street.
Okay.
Yes.
We'll have to try and dig that out. See your plaque.
Yeah. What do we want?
More money. That's what we want.
It was.
That's the only reason you go out on strike is for more money. Surely.
No, better conditions.
Better conditions. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they usually tie in more.
If somebody's wrongly sacked.
Yeah. Good point.
Yeah. Yeah. There's lots of reasons you can go out on strike.
Most people, if you said why,
if you want a day out of the office, really.
I think if you're part of a union, isn't it right that you have to go on strike if other people do in the union as well? Is that right?
If you are a member of a union and they call strike action, if you either go on annual leave, you cannot cross the picket line, or you shouldn't. Yeah. If you do, you are
scab.
If I remember rightly, no, you are asked to leave the union because you want the union benefits, but you're not prepared to give them the support. Yeah.
That they need. So yeah, And that's why they call it a union, because you're united, basically.
Yes, that's right. And we even went down and supported the local firemen when they had their dispute. Pardon me. When we went down and we supported the refuse workers because they were in a different union. But obviously when there's strike action and that lot, you all amalgamate and come together. Yeah. You unite. And
I do recommend joining a union, by the way. I do recommend it. No matter what.
Oh, if you're working, by 100%, I recommend that you go into a union.
Yeah. Even if the union's not recognised, and I used to work at Lehman Brothers, and they definitely didn't recognise the union. I was still part of a union, and many people were. They didn't take my advice. And just knowing you've got a union behind you really can hold a lot of weight if there's issues at work.
But what a lot of people don't realise as well, with a union you get tremendous benefits. You get cheap holidays, you get cheap car insurance, you get cheap household cover, you get discounts here, there and everywhere, you get representation of any of the ethnic minority groups, creed groups, the diversity groups. Everybody is represented. You get welfare support. Especially now, I should imagine they are inundated with inquiries because COVID's had such a knock-on effect of people's salaries.
I never even thought of that. Good point. Very good point.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
And their welfare teams must be getting really hammered at the moment with inquiries for support, because there are people out there that cannot make ends meet, especially now on 80%, is it, of their salary?
Okay. But they are far better off than not getting 80%.
Oh, God, yeah. Yeah, but are we as a nation going to have to pay the price when this is all over? Is VAT is going to go up to what, 30% instead of 20%?
Don't know.
They've got to recoup it somehow.
Yeah, exactly.
And then this opens another debate. Should we be giving foreign countries aid and assistance?
Well, we don't. Do we?
We do. Well, we do.
Financial support. Yeah.
Yeah, financial support.
Yeah.
We do. And it beggars a debate on charity starts at home. What does it mean when you say charity starts at home?
Okay, so that's
another debate. It's another debate, Martin.
I'll make a little note about that. Charity. Next debate. Okay, excellent. Right, Carol. I think we should let you go.
Thank you very much. I need a comfort break.
Yes.
Yes, and I actually need to make a phone call as well.
Okay, well, look, once again, thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
I'll let you go and then I'll finish off the show in case somebody puts a question in. And we'll catch up with you
if anybody puts any questions forward, my love, and I can help, by all means, let me know.
Will do. Once again, Carol.
All right, no problem. You're welcome, my love.
Bye.
Take care. Speak to you soon.
See you soon. Bye.
See ya. Bye. Red button, yeah?
Red button. You got it. Right, everybody. Thanks for watching. If you've got any comments, please leave it in our wonderful comment section. We will get back to you and we will obviously reply. If you haven't checked us out already and subscribe to us, please, if you don't mind. Let's have a look. Using this new software, FBL Broadcasting, obviously on YouTube. That's where you're watching it now. Don't forget, click the subscribe, comments below. StreamYard is the new software we're using. If you're interested in knowing what we did. If you want a bit of fun, check out, before you watch Winning the Book, do check out 2020 on FBL. Definitely me having a bit of fun for a little test given by Sean Canal and the Think Media team. Big thanks to them. Big thank you to Carol for joining us, and anybody else who has been dropping in and out. Nobody seems to write many questions at all, if any at all. But please do watch us, do comment, and try and join us for the next one. Once again, thank you very much for watching. It's FBL. I'm Martin Keneally, and while I still work out how to finish off this software and go out with our title credits, I bid you good well-being, and there we go, finally worked it out, and stay safe. Thank you.